Hello all, welcome to A Cinema Theory. Today's topic is on Super Deluxe. See how Berlin reacts to the dribbling attempt by Mughal? He doesn't care for money and is always carving for his basic instinct. This can be connected to the trailer of this film in a way which I will talk about later. This is the same constable we seen earlier who changes into a mufti to inquire at Raskuti's place. He did not change his outfit, and also Arputam says all this happened yesterday. So that's the proof that Shilpa events happen on day one, which in a magical way. Those help move forward the other interlinked events that happened on day 2. On the radio, you can hear the announcer telling the supposed backstory of those diamonds that Arputam finds hidden away in that god of sea statue. You see the odds of some random statue being shipped from some place far off west has landed in Arputam place. After getting lost in sea for years, so much for crossing paths, TK explores it at the end. The moment she appears before them, you can hear some kind of static frequency tuning sound, which is a clear hint about the fact that the immediate conversation that they have is on some kind of communication of thoughts or telekinesis of some sorts. She says that you have changed the senses into 6, but there are far more in reality, which is not just a line, it has a lot of information in it. Remember that overhearing TV conversation I talked about in point 12? That might actually be true because this alien's ear says that you changed how you perceive senses as only 6, while in reality there are more. The very first example of that is the communication of thoughts that she gives us a sample of. So aliens have been living among us humans and have been observing us, and they are far more advanced than us and might have helped us here and there to evolve beyond ourselves. See how Gajji, unlike the other two, reacts to the alien in a lot clamor way, which is uncalled for any human, even to the slipper slap from Id Amin. He takes it as he has ended or something, like he is owning his mistake. This corroborates to the fact that it is virtues that make him the chosen one to stay with the alien, and also that what makes her like him. Maybe she can't even confidently say that she is an alien, for she gives this explanation. It directly supports the person's theory on the TV show in point 12, and that the jibbe about aliens only visiting America? Hilarious. The fact that her friend died a few minutes ago and that it did not affect her emotionally just tells you how they perceive feelings differently from humans, if they have anything like that. And also it's a pure philosophical take by TK. All through this replication process, listen carefully, you can hear that radio frequency tuning sound gradually getting louder and louder. That's what that alien might have used to replicate him. And the ball drops. What? You didn't get it? What does Gajji say? May you be with the Force? What's the famous Star Wars tagline? May the Force be with you. Connected the dots yet? This alien is one of those hundreds of space creatures that we have seen all through the Star Wars movies. This is the reason why we have been hinted the Star Wars references all through, but not from the boys. This is the very first reference from their scenes, and Gajji says to his replication to be with the Force. So I connect that line in this way. But, how did Gajji know about the alien's origins? When she herself doesn't know, you may ask. That could be because Gajji doesn't know it for sure, but is only a calculated guess from his knowledge of movies he saw. The influence of movies on him is hinted in the first act where he talks about Kill Bill. And that might also tells us he might have watched Star Wars obviously. And this might just be his way of coming to peace with where that alien belongs. Hence he also reacts to her in a very calm way. Like how people in Star Wars movies just get along with the talking monkeys and whatnot without getting suppressed or shocked. See the TV cover bears the phrase flying monkeys. It is a note to the fact that these three boys are flying monkeys of the Gone-id-Amin, who have gone to the great lengths to get out of the situation they fell into. At this exact moment, you can hear an aeroplane flying by. We don't get to see it yet. Here we get the full disclosure as to why these boys wanted to bunk the school that day. Through each and every person in the film contributes some or the other thing to the story, the root causes are the important ones, right? See that movie poster to the left of the frame? Seen it somewhere, right? Yes, it's the same poster that I told you to remember about in point 15. From here, TK starts pulling off that blanket from under us. All through this monologue of Gaji, he is explaining to them about this film. The one we are watching is completely meta-cinematic. This is what TK has been trying to establish right from the start. All of these intertwined events leading to this meta-cinematic real life crescendo of philosophy. We get a lot better look at the poster now. Also, Gaji says that the film gives a verbal description and meaning of what it is in the start itself, and then gets into the act, which is exactly opposite to what we are seeing. Super Deluxe is what happens first, and the exposition scene comes in the very end. The clock on the extreme right reads 8:35, which means that the other events that we are seeing have been happening simultaneously, all in a span of 2-3 hours top. As told earlier, only Shilpa's event happened a day before. On yet other side note, through Sam was a fantastic all through. This sequence especially is so fabulously performed. She was literally under the skin of Webu. Terrific acting on display here. Savor it. Now we get to see that aeroplane. This one has nothing to do with the one we are shown earlier. The other was just a plow, as already told. This one connects to the sound we hear in point 39. The monologue that starts here from the doctor is that blanket in TK's arsenal that I have been talking about. Right at the moment when the doctor says that life is thus being created through the art of sex, we get the reveal of Super Deluxe. At the right of the frame, it is either the name of an ice cream joint or see the name is on top of a building. So it could well be the name of a theater or cinema. The movie we are watching is Super Deluxe, in which there is a theater named Super Deluxe, in which we get to watch a doctor explain the meaning of the film we are watching. Mind-blowing stuff, right? This philosophical theme about all of being a part of one, despite being independent individuals, is very deep. The existence of true and false, good and bad, day and night, male and female, black and white, etc. are clearly explained here. This is truly fantastic and downright ambitious writing. Or Super Deluxe could only be the ice cream joint's name, because we first see it on a TV commercial as the title card, then in that ice cream poster as in point 47, and Raskuti and this guy are eating ice creams at the very end of the film. So this film having the same of an ice cream bar brand could mean that enjoy it while it lasts. Those words Vasvin Ragasyam mean the secret of life, which according to TK here is sex. The soundtrack that plays here is the same one which plays during the title reveal of Super Deluxe. So Super Deluxe could also be an alternative title for The Secret of Life, similar to the people in the story and to the philosophies it says. Super Deluxe in the name itself is trying to be many things at the same time, but it's one and the same after all, isn't it? And the movie ends right before the actors in Vaswin Ragasyam come into the act of sex. Refer back to the point 2. The movie starts with the sex and here ends with the sex. In points 22 and 28, we see how Berlin is such a prevent and is almost every time thinking about his sick. This is kind of indirectly stated about in the trailer of this film. If you can recall, this is the anecdote Shilpa is saying to someone as a voiceover in the trailer. It goes like this. If a man chased by a tiger runs and flings himself over a cliff with a tree, if he falls through leaves and branches, grabs a vine. If the vine he grabs is a snake, abscess below, tiger above. Crushing his fate, if he spots a honeycomb from which a drop of honey trickles, drips and falls close to his lips. And when death stands above and below, and he knows that his end is near off for a split seconds he goes, fuck the tiger, fuck the whale, fuck the snake, fuck them all, and in reckless abandon. If he sticks his tongue out and licks the honey and cries out in bliss, aha, then that is super deluxe. What does that anecdote have to do with Berlin or with anyone in the film or with the film itself, you may ask? So we all know that there is the popular notion that on average men think about sex more than a woman, right? Though not proven, we kind of know this. Though it's a highly variant depending upon the age and background of the individual. It is kind of true to some extent. And see, TK wrote that antidote on a man. It's a man even at the brink of his death, thinking of savoring something that he might not get forever. So what I interpret here is that the man is Kannamma, the ex who dies at Sam's, and the honey is sex from Sam, and the bliss he cries out in his climax. Just before his death, we can also assume that the tiger is Id Amin, who was not able to get hold of X, and thus uses poison, the snake, to kill him. Mind blown, right? Some might feel that why should that honey be a resemble of sex? It could also mean money. Right, that can also be true, but not in the case of Super Deluxe. It all depends on how one perceives it. We got some really good points here. Listen to them. Mughal begs Vembu to do that favor. I would have done if it's possible for me. Further Berlin replies saying, Dai, you don't know me fully. To his fellow cop, on call, Berlin says, the prawn you sent last night was damn good. I think it's all related. Also, that's why the glance from Ramya Krishna in the climax, with a hint like she knows one among Mughal Vembu. At the beginning, when boys watch the adult movie, one guy asks the friend to pause the movie and goes, what a dream job it is, pointing towards the male lead who climbs up the stairs in the movie. I think Mughal is a prawn actor in the movie Berlin watched last night, and he comes chasing him. Why else would a sub-inspector comes to Mughal's apartment in the morning and comes back again when they leave to dispose of the body and start chasing them to blackmail for money or sexual favor and starts following them? I think Mughal and Ramya Krishnan are ex-co-stars who acted in the adult movie. So I did like to conclude this breakdown by quoting the master Bharadwaj Rangan's take on this film. I will just say I have never seen anything like this in Tamil cinema, with its mix of the scared and the profane, the epic and the intimate, the earthy and the otherworldly, the pop culture and the philosophical. It's a film you want to view as much with a microscope, that is, zooming in on the details, and as a telescope, that is, zooming out to the bigger picture. Although what TK exactly wanted to tell to his audiences is clearly exposited in that doctor's monologue, but all of it has a way deeper meaning and is pretty much open to us, the audiences, to interpret it in the way we want to, in the way we perceive it. So it could mean a lot of things, and we can think in a number of different ways about one thing. So I did like to say that this is how I perceive it, how I see the film. I would really like to know what you think about this and how you see the film. Did I miss any details that you noticed? Was I wrong about anything in my breakdown? Would love to hear from you. And thanks for listening such a long piece patient. Signing off, team A Cinema Theory.